Welcome again to another mathematics tutorial. Today we're going to talk about quadratic inequalities. Quadratic inequalities. Now we know this is an inequality because there is the greater than sign there. That means this side is greater than this side, and both sides of the greater than sign, they got different values. Okay. We also know that it is a quadratic equation because of the x squared. Right? Every time when you see it is x squared, then we know that it is a quadratic equation. Now to solve this, okay, we need to move the 10 on this side. So we need to, when you move the 10 on this side, it becomes a negative 10. So we're going to do that. So x squared plus 3x will be minus 10 is equal to 0. Okay, so that's the first step that we do. Right, sorry, is what? Greater than 0. Okay, that's the same thing. This is the same thing as this one. Now we need to factorize, right? And we have x squared. So we put our brackets again, and x squared means x here. So x times x is x squared. So what two numbers, when multiplied together, gives us 10, and when subtracted, gives us positive 3, and that is 5 and minus 2. So 5 multiplied by minus 2 gives us minus 10. 5 minus 3. Sorry, minus 2. 5 minus 2 gives us the 3. So we can safely say that we can put the 5 there. Okay. And we can put the 2 there. Okay, and this is going to be plus negative. Okay, so plus 5 multiplied by minus 2 gives us minus 10. Plus 5 minus 2 gives us the 3. So we know that this is correct. Okay, now we know that this value is equal to 0 and this one is equal to 0. Okay, so say x plus 5 is equal to 0, then we know that x will be minus the 5 on both sides. Okay, this x becomes minus 5. Okay, and similarly do the same thing, x to minus 2. Okay, so x we subtract, this is equal to x minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, to put the x on one side, remove the 2 onto the other side, it becomes plus 2. Okay, that's what x is equal to 2. Now, we can represent that on the number line. Okay, so we have the number line here. Right, so we know the x is from minus 5, and x is 2. So this is like 1, this is like 2. Okay, put 2 here. It's minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. Okay, now we know that this is greater than, so we're going to put a circle, okay, over this 2, and we also put a circle over the minus 5. Okay, now we need to find out which region is positive or negative. Okay, now we have 3 regions. Now, first region is here, right? Going into the minus infinity. The second region, okay, we can call this, we'll give it a name for the regions. That's a region here, and this one is a region here, right? Going this way to infinity, and this is one going to infinity. So, negative infinity. So we can say, you give it names. Okay, this is region 1. Okay, this is region 2. And this here is region 3. And again, I was saying you need to find out which, if this region is positive or negative, or if this is positive or negative, this is positive or negative. It cannot be both positive and negative. It can either positive or negative. Now, for us to do that, to find out if this region here is positive or negative, we choose a value here. Okay, from 2, we can choose 3. Okay, so, and we're looking at this here. We're using this one here. You see, x plus 5 is equal to 0. Now, if the x is 3, so 3 plus 5, 8. So that's positive 8. Okay, so and also we could use this equation as well, which is x minus 2 is equal to 0. And if the x is 3, 3 minus 2 is 1. So we're getting a positive here, and we're getting a positive value. Getting positive values for here. So we can say that region 1 is positive. Positive value for this one. Okay. So likewise, we try to find out about region 2. Okay, so region 2, we can use 0, because 0 is in region 2. So we can say if x is 0, right, that we put x substituting the 0 here. So 0 plus 5 is equal to 5. So that's a positive value so far. Substitute here, 0 minus 2 is equal to minus 2. Now we have a positive and a negative, so we're looking to multiply those values. We know that a positive multiplies by a negative, multiplied by negative gives you negative value. So we say that this region here is negative. Okay, region 3. Okay, we could look at negative 6. Okay, and we do the same thing. Say negative 6 plus 5. Okay, that's minus 1. Similarly here, negative 6, negative 2 is negative 8. Okay, so a negative and a negative, right, is a plus, is a positive, All right, so we can say that this region here is positive. All right, now we know we're dealing with this here. We also go here negative 5 and 2. So we want to know which direction is it going, because we know we're dealing with a greater than. So we're dealing with a greater than value. Okay, so from this we can say that the answer for this one is negative infinity, right? 2 minus 5. Okay, negative infinity 2 minus 5. Okay, union. Okay, union 2. We're talking about 2. Okay, to positive infinity, right? We don't put a positive, we put a negative here, but this is understandable to be positive. It's positive to positive infinity on that side. Okay, positive infinity, and or if you want to represent it this way, it can be x is greater than 2, or x is less than minus 5. Okay. So that is how it's represented, and that is how you do a quadratic inequality. Okay. Now, for our second example, we know, like what I said before, that quadratic equations, quadratics, it normally starts with the x itself here is x squared. Okay. You may have a coefficient of 2, 3, 4, but normally you will get an x squared. This time we have an x cube. Okay. Now what we could do was that we have to convert this expression so that you can get an x squared. Okay. So but before we do that, we need to move all from the right to the left. Okay. So we want to merge the values with the x, okay, and then you have the numbers on the other side. All right. So we can do this, right? X cubed. Okay. Bring the 3x on this side, so it becomes negative 3x. All right. When we cross over the symbol here, right, this positive becomes a negative. Okay. So we have the 3x squared. Okay. Yeah, it's the same negative x. Bring the negative x there. Okay. And then the 3 minus 3 becomes a positive 3. Okay, positive 3. And that would be less than and equal to 0. Okay, now we still have the x cube. We still have the x cube. Okay, but we need to factorize that. We need to factor it by grouping. And of course, we need to find the greatest common factor for this one. Greatest common factor, right? We would normally put an x squared here because that's what the quadratic, one of the rules, quadratic expressions, you know, we have the x squared there. Okay, so we would factorize. So x multiplied by x squared give us x cubed. Okay, and then we have we minus, and then x squared into 3x squared is 3. Okay, 3. All right. So then we do the same thing. We factorize this one. So we have put a 1 and then we have an x. By doing that, 1 multiplied by x is x. Okay, and so we have a positive 3. Okay, so minus 1 multiplies by something gives us positive 3, and that value is minus 3. Okay, and that's less than or equal to 0. Okay, so now we simplify it further because these expressions here are the same. That is what you want. If these two values are not the same, then something is wrong and you need to go over your work again. So these are common, so we bring that here. Okay, these expressions outside the brackets, right, we bring it here. Okay, now we need to simplify this further. Okay, because of the x squared. So bring this down, Okay, we need to take off the square, but we need to repeat it twice. So this can be x plus 1 and x negative 1. Okay, that's what it's saying. And if you work it out, this here equals this, but we need to get rid of the squared. Okay, now having done that, then we can find the values for x if each one here is equal to 0, right? It is equal to 0. So if we say x minus 3 is equal to 0, okay, then x is equal to 3, okay, and this one, x plus 1 is equal to 0, right? X would be minus 1, okay, you see that x is minus 1, and this one, if x is minus 1 is equal to 0, then x obviously is 1. Okay, now we can represent it on the number line. Okay, that's 0. So it is saying that x is 3, so we plot 3. Okay, it's telling us also it's minus 1 and also 1. So so we know minus 1, but we know it's a less than going this direction and equal to. So it's a filled circle here, right? Because remember it's less than and equal to. All right. It's also telling us 3x, and it's positive 3. So we put another filled circle there. It's also telling us that it is that is 1. All right, telling us that is 1. So we put a filled circle here. Now we have the regions that we talk about here, but we find that we have 3 dots. We have 4 regions. Okay, we have here, that's region 1. We have this bit here, right, that's region 2. This one here, region 3, and this one here, going to infinity, right, is region 4. Again, we want to know if the regions are positive or negative, right? And the way we do that is that we put in values, right, for x, okay, in these expressions here. All right, we substitute x. So if we going to look at region 1, okay, 4, right, 4 falls into region 1. Okay, so so if you're looking at region 1, okay, and then we substitute 4 into here. Okay, so we have, say, 4 minus 3, right, that's equal to 1. Okay, and for here as well, 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. Okay, and the other one, 4, right, minus 1 is equal to 3. So we get in a lot of plus values. It's plus 1, plus 5, plus 3. So we know we can say that region 1 is positive, getting positive values. Okay. Region 2. All right. We do the same for region 2. We can look at 2 here. Okay. So 2 is in the middle, right there of region 2. Okay. So we can say 2 minus 3 is equal to minus 1. Okay. 2 minus 3. We can also say 2 plus 1, right, is equal to 3. Okay, that's positive. All right, and we can say 2 minus 1, right, is equal to 1. So we have a negative multiplied by a positive gives us a negative. A negative multiplied by the positive will give us a negative. So we can say that region 2 is negative. Okay. Now for region 3, we can look at 0. Right? 0 is right there, region 3. So region 3. Okay. And we're going to look at 0. Okay. So we can say 0 minus 3, alright, is minus 3. Okay. 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 minus 1 is equal to minus 1. Okay. Now a negative multiplied by a positive gives us a negative, but we have a negative again. So a negative by a negative is a positive. So we can say region 3 is positive. Okay. Now in region 4 we have negative 2, negative 3, say negative 4. Okay. And in this region, I said we can look at negative 2. So region 4, right, we can look at negative 2, negative 3, right, minus 5. Okay. So this one, negative 2 plus 1 is equal to negative 1. And this one, minus 2 minus 1. Okay. We know minus 2 minus 1 gives us a minus 3. So we have lots of minuses, but minus by a minus is a plus. Okay, is a positive, right? And positive multiplies by a negative gives us a negative. Gives us a negative. So this here is negative. So region 1 is positive, region 2 is negative, region 3 is positive, and region 4 is negative. But the inequality asks for us to find what's less than and equal to less than equal to 0. Okay, so we're looking at values from here going this way. Okay, and we are looking at the negatives because it says less than 0, it means values that are negative. So we will look at the negative regions. Okay, this region 4 is negative. This region 2 is the negative. So we're going to bridge this one. Okay, right. So we are looking at the negative regions. Okay, because it says less than. If it says greater than and equal to 0, then we're going to look at the positive values, the positive regions. Okay, but in this case we're going to look at right. We're going to look at the regions. Okay, that are negative. Okay. So the answer for that one is it's infinity. Okay, infinity minus 1. So from infinity to minus 1. Okay, union. Okay, positive 1, positive 3 because we look at negative values. So positive 1, 3. Okay, and if you want to answer that using the inequalities, okay, we will say x is less than or equal to minus 1. Okay, which is from here. Right? We can also say x is less than or equal to 3. Okay, Now I noticed that we did not plot it. We plotted it here with a 2 and a minus 5. But you see, because it is greater than the 0, greater than 0, I didn't quite mention this one here, greater than 0 means that it is positive. So we're looking at the positive regions. So this here is the positive region, it goes in this direction, so we look at this region. This also says it's positive, okay, so we put the arrow in that direction. This is something that I didn't do, okay. So we put the arrows in this direction because it's positive, because this is asking, is saying that it is greater than 0. You know, all the values that are greater than 0 are they are the positive values. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoy that, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you for viewing. Goodbye.